Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the Phoenix City Council approves expansion plans for Sky Harbor Airport. Food stamp cuts will kick in tomorrow. We'll look at the impact to Arizonans in need, and we'll find out why the state will not fall back this Sunday for daylight savings time. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Phoenix City Council last night awarded an $18 million design-build contract to expand Sky Harbor Airport. The plans include closing one terminal and increasing the capacity of another. Here with more is Airport Deputy Aviation Director Deborah Osteicher. Deborah, thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is not an $18 million project. This is just the project to get the project started, right?
Exactly right, Ted. This is kind of what we call plan to plan. And what the Phoenix City Council approved yesterday was our ability to move forward with designing what it is we're looking at here with expanding Terminal 3.
And what are we looking at? Because it sounds like Terminal 2 goes away, Terminal 3 gets bigger?
Our main concern is modernizing Terminal 3, which was opened in 1979, and it is just not efficient enough at this point to serve into the future. So we want to expand that and make some plans so that we can eventually move the airlines from Terminal 2 into Terminal 3.
And expanding by how much in terms of the gates? Double the size, something along those lines?
We don't know the exact plans yet, but you're right. We plan to add additional gates, eventually expand the security checkpoint lanes, and add food, beverage, and concessions.
And eventually closing Terminal 2.
Our ultimate plan is that Terminal 2, which is even older than Terminal 3, it was constructed in the late 50s, early 60s, opened in 1962. It definitely is no longer the best terminal to serve one of America's busiest airports.
If Terminal 2 is closed, what happens to the structure? Does it stay? Does it go?
We don't have any plans for that yet. Our main focus at this time is to modernize Terminal 3 so that it can meet the needs that we know this community desires. So there are no plans at this time to do anything other than move the airlines from Terminal 2 into Terminal 3.
Wasn't there, I seem to remember there being some expansion plans involving the west side, like a 33-gate, just a humongous plan that seemed to go away, and now we're hearing about this. What's going on there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Before the recession and before airlines began cutting capacity throughout the country and throughout the world, we did have plans for a new 33-gate terminal. But we want to be really smart and strategic on how we expand and build so that we can meet the needs of the community. And now, today, our best bet is to go with this plan. We still have another concourse that we can expand in Terminal 4 because that was also built to expand. And in Terminal 3, right now, that is the most strategic move for us, is to modernize Terminal 3. And then sometime in the future, we could still build an additional terminal.
In phases, this modernization of Terminal 3?
It is. It's in phases because, again, we want to be very smart and strategic about how we do this and prioritize. So the first area is going to be to expand the security checkpoints so that we have enough lanes to get through there. Anybody who's flown there at a really busy time has seen it can get very busy at those security checkpoint lanes.
And we're watching a video here. This is on skyharbor.com, so anyone who wants to see what the plans are, I guess, can go ahead and check this out. So you're expanding security checkpoints. Any idea how long that would take? Any idea what kind of disruption we're talking about?
Well, we're hoping to keep disruption to a minimum. As always, we will do everything we can to make sure that the airlines can continue to run efficiently, because that is very important, of course, and also that passengers are comfortable as they move through the airport. So as far as timeline, we're looking at around 5 to 7 years for all of these things we're talking about, but we'll know a lot more after we get through this design process over the next year.
And the second phase was upgrading ticket counters and luggage carousels, drop-off zones, that sort of thing.
Exactly. We want to make sure that efficiency and comfort is number one, and right now the way the terminal, which was designed again back in the 70s, it's not exactly the best terminal to meet the needs of the future. So we want to make sure that we design the ticket counters, all of the processes, baggage claim, and everything else to best serve passengers in the future.
And the third phase, final phase, will be getting those gates. I think from the video we saw those gates. That's a lot of gates out there. Is this, it sounds more organic than that 33-gate big project before the recession there on the west side. Is that the idea, to be able to adapt in case new forms of transportation, new forms of air travel, new forms of everything start popping up between now and then?
Yes, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because, and I know you keep hearing me say strategic, but we really need to be, because you're right, the industry continues to change and we want to be very thoughtful and careful about how we move through this, and strategic as we make these plans.
Cost, general ideas. I know there's no firm plans here, but what are you guys looking at here?
We don't know yet, but in today's dollars, we think it could be around $500 million over this many-year period as we do this designing, but we'll know a lot more about that as we go through the process.
And where would the money come from?
Definitely no local tax dollars, no general fund. This is all through airport user fees. If you use the airport, we generate revenue there, and that's how we pay for everything we do.
So no general fund at all?
No general fund
So
at
we're
all.
talking retail, food, parking, those sorts of things?
Exactly.
So what's next now? We had that design build, kind of the plan, the pre-plan to the plan here, approved last night. What's next?
So now we move forward with what we call a 30% moving forward, where we can get a look at all of the 3 phases that you mentioned, so we can start to get an idea of exactly what we're talking about. The video that you showed gave us an idea of what we need to look for. Now we're going to really get a little bit more into the trenches and figure out, what does that really mean when we talk about expanding the security checkpoints?
And last question here. Again, we were talking about adaptability and being able to move the goalposts, if you will. With transportation, does light rail play a factor here? Does the SkyTrain play a factor here? How does that work its way in?
SkyTrain plays a huge factor, and it now, as of April 8th, connects to light rail, so you can get to the airport through the station at 44th Street in Washington. By Super Bowl 2015, we will have the SkyTrain station open in Terminal 3, and you will be able to continue to walk on a very convenient pathway to Terminal 2, and that will be the SkyTrain, and it will go to all 3 terminals by 2015.
Okay, so but you got to think that this expansion project should be started by Super Bowl 2015, don't you think?
Absolutely, the project will be started at that point. That's our expected time frame, but it will certainly not be finished by then, but the SkyTrain will be open.
Interesting stuff. All right, good to have you here. Good
Nice to
information.
see you,
Thanks for
Ted.
joining us. Starting tomorrow, more than 1 million Arizonans will be impacted by cuts in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps. Joining me now is Cynthia Zwick, Executive Director of the Arizona Community Action Association. It's good to have you here. When we talk about food stamps, we hear food stamps, we hear SNAP. What is SNAP? One and the same?
They are the same program. SNAP is the new name for food stamps, and it stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
And there was a temporary boost back in 2009, correct?
There was. It was part of the stimulus, the Recovery Act program, and there was a significant increase to the program at that time.
And the concern now is that that temporary boost ends tomorrow.
It ends tomorrow, which means that every individual who's currently on food stamps in Arizona today or on the SNAP program will see a reduction in the benefit that they receive.
And how many again in Arizona?
There's 1.1 million Arizonans on the SNAP program today, which is one of the highest numbers that we've seen, over time. And it is in direct response to a number of factors, but obviously coming out of the recession, more and more families are struggling and enrolled in the program for help.
Talk to us about kids. How many kids included in that and or other numbers?
I don't have the exact number for the kids, but the households that are receiving SNAP, of those households, about 70% are seniors, children, and disabled families. So it's significant. About 50% of the enrollees are children.
And I got 109 or some odd million cut from SNAP benefits to Arizona, correct?
That's right.
All right. What does that mean to every person receiving the increased amount of food stamp money now, or the food stamps now? I mean, what were they getting? What are they getting now? What's going to happen come tomorrow?
Well, so the program never doesn't help a family completely feed. It is supplemental, so it doesn't completely take care of food needs. Right now, the average benefit on a monthly basis is about $125. So what that really averages out to is about $4.19 a day, or $1.37 a meal. So what's going to happen at the end of this day is tomorrow, essentially, a family of four will see a $36 cut, which works out to about 20 meals a month for that family. They're no longer going to be able to purchase 20 meals.
In terms of percent, what, 7 to 10%, something along those lines?
Yeah, it's about 7%, I believe.
It's so. What are they based on? Are the cuts? Is it just across the board? Household size? What goes on here?
Well, the cut is essentially the reduction in the increase through the stimulus fund. So all of that's being wiped out, but they are doing it the percentage is based on the number of people in a home, or the number of people that are receiving the food stamps in that home. So for a single person, they're going to see an $11 reduction for a month, and then up to the $36 for a family of four.
What kind of assistance now will be out there for these? So do we have Meals on Wheels and food banks and those sorts of things?
Well, so here's the difficulty. This is a first step in potential cuts. So if Congress enacts additional cuts through the Farm Act, the Farm Bill that's still pending in Congress, there could be additional cuts. The programs that are currently in place have seen reductions over time, and so there is inadequate resources to go around and to feed these families. So the people will turn to food banks, which are already struggling with capacity and enough food to serve families. They'll be turning to charities, they'll be turning to churches, they'll be turning to other resources. The reality is, though, that as the families in need continue to either grow or be sustained, the resources are being cut, so there will not be enough to go around.
You mentioned the new Farm Bill, and it sounds as though that deeper cuts really are in the offing here. How much will they cut below the 2009 level before this temporary boost happened?
Well, they're looking at cutting another $5 billion in the next fiscal year, and then another $11 billion for the next 2 years. So another $16 billion is going to be reduced from the current funding, which will significantly reduce, again, the number of people who are able to receive the benefit and the level of benefit that it's available.
What we're hearing from Washington, and these are arguments on the other side here regarding SNAP, and saying, first of all, this was a temporary boost because of the dire situation back in 2009, never meant to be permanent. It's time now to go ahead back to those 2009 levels, or if the Farm Bill dictates, even previous to that. What do you say?
I say that's going to create huge hardship for families across Arizona and across this country. Here's part of the problem. All of those families that lost their jobs or became underemployed during the recession are not fully employed. We still have an 8% unemployment rate in Arizona. They're making minimum wage, or they're underemployed, so they're not working full-time, or they're working two part-time jobs, but they're making minimum wage. So they still don't have the resources to support their families. And the SNAP program is intended to be a temporary program, and on average across the country, it's about a 9-month enrollment. In Arizona, it's about 2 years now. So it's gone up because our economy has not completely recovered. There are still too many people that can't support their families, and they're still struggling to make ends meet.
I want to once again give you an argument from the other side, and that is that SNAP is, and I've heard this said, it's a disincentive for those who receive SNAP. It's a disincentive for those on food stamps to get a better job.
Well, so I don't agree with that. And what I would say to those folks is these are hardworking people. They're working 1 or 2 jobs. Most of the people on food stamps are employed. Again, they're underemployed. So, and it's, it's $4 a day. I don't know that anybody's going to turn away a good job in order to reach the $4 a day supplement. But the other thing that's happened is, if folks are trying to go back to work, many of the support systems that are in place or had been in place in Arizona, things like child care, temporary assistance for needy families, emergency services, all of those funds have been cut. So there are a lot of barriers for people being able to get back to work fully, sustain their families without some support. And this program provides support. I'd also just like to mention, Ted, that for every $5 of SNAP money that comes into this state and is expended in this community, it's a return of about 9. So the investment in that program really is a benefit to the economy ultimately.
So as far as what you want to see done, do you want to see at least back to the 2009 levels? If not that, obviously you want to see this temporary increase stay until what? What parameters would make sense? Okay, now we can roll this back, because you got to, in DC, they're looking for ways to roll back the budget.
I know they are, and I think part of the problem is they're looking for ways to roll back the budget on the backs of people who don't have the resources currently to support themselves. And so what we're asking for is that this money be restored after tomorrow. If that is not possible, we're asking for no future cuts to come along until the economy really turns around and people are able to sustain themselves and find work that can support their families. And we'll be able to see that because this program is sort of counter-cyclical. As people begin to do better, they will fall off the rolls and the enrollment will drop. So during the recession, we increased significantly. We were seeing about 600,000 people or 500,000 people, and it's climbed significantly to the 1.1 million. So it's in direct response to a difficult situation.
And we're still not seeing that ease off much at all?
We are not yet in Arizona seeing that ease off. We are seeing we know that things are starting to turn around, or we're hearing that things are starting to turn around in the housing market and other places, but I will tell you that for poor families who are working at minimum wage and, as I said, or underemployed, working part-time, they're not seeing a turnaround yet.
And last question, as far as state lawmakers are concerned and state leaders, what do you need to see regarding support services?
We need to see the restoration of funds to some of the safety net programs, and we need to see some policies and modifications in the public policy to support families getting back to work.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Most of the nation will be changing clocks and watches to daylight savings time this Sunday, but most of Arizona will not make the switch. Arizona State University climatologist Randy Cerveny is here to talk about why Arizona does not fall back or spring forward. Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about, define some parameters here. What is daylight savings time?
Well, it's a concept that dates back all the way to Benjamin Franklin. It's the idea that by switching our clocks, we can have more sunlight in the evening hours in the summertime so that we could do things like harvest and we could play baseball games in the evening hours that we wouldn't be able to do if the clocks weren't adjusted.
And we wouldn't have to use lights for most of the country, thus electricity, once electricity was discovered, that was an energy saver.
Right, and that's why daylight savings time, it was originally known as wartime. It was put forth, first of all, in World War I as a way to save energy during the war, and then it was reinstituted back in World War II as a way to save energy.
So World War I is in place, after World War I it stops. World War II it's in place, after World War II it stops. Were folks getting tired of the back and forth?
Well, Arizona never liked it.
Yeah.
We got off of it as soon as we possibly could, but then it was mandated in the 1960s that all the country was going to go on a single time standard. And we tried it for a year and then said, no, we don't want it.
And for obvious reasons. I mean, this is the one place where you're really, in the summertime, you don't need more daylight, especially late in the day.
Exactly. I mean, our high temperatures usually occur around 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, if you went on daylight savings time, those 110 degrees would be happening more at 4 and 5 o'clock in the evening, and we would start to have hotter temperatures into the evening hours, and we simply didn't want that.
And now in Arizona, Navajo Reservation, no daylight? Daylight or no daylight? So what are they doing up there?
The Navajo Reservation goes on daylight savings time, and so they'll be coming off of it this weekend. And the reason for that is because they span more than just Arizona. They also have Window Rock, they have New Mexico. So they want to be all on the same time. They didn't want Window Rock to be like 2 hours different from the rest of the reservation. So they go on daylight savings time. The Hopi Reservation, which is entirely in Arizona, it's actually completely surrounded by the Navajo
Yes, it
Reservation,
is.
doesn't go on daylight savings
my
time.
goodness.
So there are a number of clocks once you get up in the northern
So
part of the state.
you could literally go back and forth in time as you travel across the state.
And some travelers, when they go up to the Hopi Reservation, expect to find an open gas station, might find, well, wait, no, it's already closed, or vice versa when they go into the Navajo station.
Any other states? I thought Indiana for a while didn't follow daylight savings time.
Until about 2006, there's a time zone that cuts through the middle of Indiana, and they wanted to try to keep on the same time. So they, up until 2006, said we're not going to do that, but now they do. And so the whole state does actually go on daylight savings time. Really, the only other state other than Arizona that doesn't go on daylight saving time is Hawaii.
Is Hawaii. I guess they're so close to the equator down there, it doesn't make all that much difference.
Yeah, it's that they're so, again, it's very, very important in terms of commerce that when you're flying from one place to another, you want to try to keep the clocks in a consistent manner.
So you don't hear much controversy regarding daylight savings time anymore. Is it going to stay this way for a while, do you think? Is something going to happen in the future where things would change? What are you seeing out there?
Well, there are a lot of companies that would absolutely love to have us go on daylight savings time. You had the person on from Sky Harbor. The airline industry would actually love us to go on daylight savings time because they have to adjust all of their schedules and take into account that we don't go on daylight savings time.
Yeah.
So companies that do interstate commerce would really like us to go on daylight savings time.
But in terms of energy consumption, to have us with another hour of daylight would be murder.
Yeah, that's not a big concern here. It's just simply, it would actually probably add to our bill because it would be extra air conditioning in the evening hours.
All right, so we'll look forward to that Sunday as we become part of the Rocky Mountain West instead of the West Coast, which is always kind of an interesting psychological thing. Real quickly, recently we have had dust storms, and not monsoon, haboob kind of dust, just blankets of dust. It seems like Picacho Peak is a magnet for it. It seemed like all these accidents were happening. What's going on?
Well, that is a very deadly stretch, and the reason why, this was not our typical Arizona monsoon thunderstorms that we had this last week that caused a big accident down there. This was a cold front that came through. But the winds are right around Picacho. There's a series of mountains right there, Picacho Peak, and then there are some mountains on the east side of it. They get funneled right through that little road. And when you funnel in the winds can increase in speed. So while the winds outside that little gap area were less than 35 miles an hour, nothing that the Weather Service was concerned with, when they got funneled into that area, they picked up speeds maybe up to 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Are these winds of a certain direction, or can they swirl? Do they have to come maybe from the southwest or the southeast to go funneling up that way?
Well, actually, I think they were coming in from the
my
northwest
goodness.
and right through that gap. So they were kind of funneled into a very narrow area that caused the winds to be concentrated into a much higher value than they would otherwise be.
And are these dust storms, again, unlike what we see during the monsoon, they just march. They're just like a marching army moving north. Do these move? Do they stay stagnant? What happens to these things?
Well, this was associated with a cold front passage. So as the cold front was coming through, and it's what's given us our current nice, really cool weather here, but as it went through, then the dust storm really falls apart very, very quickly. So it's not nearly as sustained. It's not going to reach all the way from, say, Phoenix down to Tucson or Tucson to Phoenix. It's just going to fall apart really, really
Which is
quickly.
one of those reasons why we didn't see anything happening up here, but we heard about stuff happening down there.
Exactly.
Now, real quickly, again, because of those mountains that you're talking about, is that also a problem during the monsoon?
It can be, and as you say, that seems to be one of the big trouble areas. The other reason why that's such a big trouble area is it's open land, so that when those winds blow over that land, it's very easy to pick up that dust. It's not been covered up with any kind of landscape or anything, so it's very, very dry stuff that can be picked up into a big dust storm.
We got about 30 seconds left. El Nino or La Nina? What do you think? What are you thinking?
Actually, it's neither.
Oh.
We are what we are calling neutral phase, and that makes it really hard for us to try to predict a winter. Right now, we're saying it's probably going to be a near normal winter.
Okay, so expect anything.
Pretty much. In
All
Arizona,
right,
expect
Randy,
anything.
good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
pleasure.
Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. A referendum on a controversial state election law heads to next year's ballot, and a change in leadership for Senate Democrats leads to charges of racism and sexism. Those stories and more on the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.